Hello, my lovely people. I'm willing to make a bet. I'm willing to make a wager. Wager number one is that not only do you hear me loud and clear, you probably don't hear any static. I'm willing to bet money on this. I'm willing to bet crypto on this, that this is the case. If I'm wrong, let me know, but I'll call you a liar because, again, I'm pretty sure I got it now. I got YouTube happy because it has no choice. Although I was just watching Bleev's channel and he had the same issue, or at least he thought he did. I'm telling you, YouTube is a bunch of crap when it comes to audio. I'm not alone in this. And the problem is their tools don't let us see when there's a problem. Regardless, let's get into today. I wanted to chat with you guys because I got some good information about Libero, and I think you need to hear it. And I think you're going to walk away a little bit happier from what I'm hearing. But first, I got to say something. And this is not directed to anybody who's on here right now. This is not directed to any individual who may listen to this after the fact. It is simply to public service announcement and level set, as I always do. So just bear with me. I promise you it won't take that long, but it's very critical that I do this. Warning, the following information should not be construed as financial advice. Okay, the other thing that's separate from that, right? The other thing that's important, I have a new saying, and this is specific to the YouTube folks. I have a new saying. My saying is, if you give it, you better be ready to take it. The reason that's my saying, and it's unfortunate, there's a lot of people that are diehards of their crypto, whichever crypto, that simply get triggered when I say a certain thing. They're not listening to the reason why I'm saying these things. They're not challenging their devs that come across like car salesmen. They're not questioning the flashing buttons of a thing. They're not questioning unrealistic growth. They're not questioning unsustainable pumps. They're just reacting to the FOMO candle. And I want to make sure everybody knows I support your ability and right and desire to be a gambler. If you want to, great. You'll find that I'm completely different from every other YouTuber in that regard because I am not the person who is trying to shill you on a project. I'm sharing information as an investor just like you. And I want you to make your own choice. And I don't want you to be influenced by anything I tell you here today or any other day. I'm simply sharing what I see as an investor with a smattering of my technical knowledge in the back. What I see cannot be wrong. It's what I see. You might disagree it's a risk. You might disagree it's a problem, and I support you for it. Please do not come with pitchforks trying to attack what I see or say it's wrong. What I see is what I see. The only response is, I'm a gambler, I'm going to toss some money and go for it. And I will celebrate you for doing that, especially if you win, like with this whole Luna business. And that's my topic next, is Luna. Did you know this idiot, I call him Doe Rug Pull. This idiot, people were asking him for the burn wallet because the community wants to do the burn. Nobody wants to do the fork. Even some of the validators came out and said, you know, this fork is the wrong idea. We want the burn. The community has spoken. You're ignoring the voices. This validator, it's called All Nodes. Check them out and give them some daps for this. All Nodes came out and said, we need to listen to the voices of the community. The community has said this is not the right answer. We need to do what they're telling us, which is they want us to do the burn and do this some other way. But All Nodes also said, we don't like what Do Kwon's doing with this governance because in the governance, it's skewed to support his agenda. Basically, the community can never win. If you heard my last episode about UST and Tether, I said the same thing, didn't I? I said the whole thing is skewed to support what Do Kwon wants. Yes, it is. It's skewed towards whales. It means it was a rigged vote to begin with. All Nodes is calling that out. Now I got a validator on my side saying the same thing I was saying. All Nodes then went on to say it basically felt like a dictatorial word, sing or sing, for the Star Trek fans, and we don't like it. We need to get back to a regular course and get what the community wants done, which is to do the burn. MEXC, the exchange, came out and said, do you want us to just burn this? Ultimately, the community is saying, this is what we want. Doe Rug Pull is going on his own. He's getting frustrated. How do I know this? When people asked for the burn wallet, he responded and said, here you go. And he sent a wallet address. Instantly, there were scammers who copied the verified check mark as a phony, and they sent out a different address so they could scam people out of their Luna tokens, all because this idiot sent out the contract address and it made it easy to scam him. Then after the fact, he does a quote tweet, which breaks the thread so people can't see this. And somebody else said, okay, but why are you just giving out the burn address if you don't want us to do this? And he says something to the vein of, Well, I mean, people asked, so I just gave it. I still don't understand it. And I chimed and I had to call him out because it's like, look, dude, either you don't understand Twitter or anyway, he's got to be like a kid or a college kid. He doesn't understand. If you're going to give the burn address, you're telling them, go ahead and burn. But if you're just frustrated and you just do it, you're allowing scammers to basically copy your tweet and then tweak the address, and they don't know any better. Your job is to be a custodian and actually take care of people. Instead, you're pissed off because nobody wants your proposal and they're flacking against it, and you don't like this. Guess what? You shouldn't be mad at them. You should be mad at yourself because you rammed the proposal down people's throat when they told you they didn't want it. So the whole deal of UST and Luna, I'm not, like some people said, you know what, it's a Ponzi scheme. CoffeeZilla called it a Ponzi. Please call it a Ponzi. Multiple people are calling it a Ponzi. By definition, it is at the level of Ponzi because if they do the fork, when they do the fork, their goal is to take some of the funds and send it to somebody else, which in this case would be the old holders, the legacy holders, to make them whole. Well, that's robbing Peter to pay Paul, which essentially is a Ponzi by definition. I don't think he's intentionally trying to scam people. I think he's an idiot. I think he's incompetent. I think he's a moron. That's what I believe. I think he's arrogant, like many of these devs I've called out. I think he's too much on his high horse where he got so much of a big head. Now, when it crashes, he doesn't know how to handle it. That's my theory about Doe rug pull is I don't think he's intentionally trying to cheat people. I think he doesn't know what he's doing. And I think it's going to bite him. If and when they do the fork, I think it's going to come back and bite him somehow, some way. Karma's going to get him. I can't say how. I can't say what. I'm just calling it like I see it, that it feels like he's just rushing stuff down. And if you're a good leader, you're not supposed to be rushing stuff down. You're supposed to be thoughtful and protect the people that you serve. He serves the investors. See, that never clicked to him. He was never taught that the investors are his boss. He was always the boss. And so he always laid the demand, and then the governance put him up on a pedestal and created a throne for this dude, and nobody checked him at the door. That's why this all went south. I honestly, firmly, 100% emphatically do not believe that he's obviously slimy, but I'm saying I don't think he's intentionally trying to rip people off. I think he's an idiot. That's my point here. All right. So Luna I don't even know if it's worth talking about it until we get figured out what the plan's going to be. I'm saying for you guys, because it ties to what I'm going to say next, I can't emphasize enough. You've got to hold the devs accountable. When they screw up, when they jack people up, when they mess people's money, like messing with their emotions, when they don't do the right thing, when they rush something out the door, when they don't take the time to plan and project and expect, when they do these things, they've got to be held accountable. It's not even about regs at that point, although regs would be nice to regulate idiots like him. It's about the investors saying, we're your boss, dude, lady. We're your boss. You will do what we tell you to do. It's not about a governance thing. We better do one wallet, one vote if you're going to do that. Because no, brother, we're not going to have where these whales can just call the shots. That's what ideally would happen, in my opinion. Now, would you like to hear the interesting news about Libero? I don't know what to make of it. I'm making no promises. I'm making no guarantees, and I don't know where it's going to go. I'm just giving you a status update because you deserve to know. That rhymes. So I'm assuming that either one or the other or both of the community, the Libero community, and the TRIAD, which is our membership at cryptotalkradio.net, one of the two or both has done enough appeal and enough hammering and beating down of the Libero devs that one of them reached out to us. Finally, this project launched in January. The first time I reached out to them was late January after they launched, because after I did my coverage, I wanted to try to help them, guide them along the way while it was still successful. Never got a response back, barely got a response on social media, except the occasional like or retweet. And then our videos are embedded on the site. So if you go to libero.financial, those are our videos. Some of them, most of them, are ours, because we were the first to cover the darn thing, and we've done the most, I would argue, effective coverage. In my own arrogance, one of them reached out and said, now, unfortunately, they first reached out, and this was on May 11th, they reached out in Telescam. We don't go to Telescam. I happened to be there for a different project because I was trying to get an update, and then I get out, and I happened to notice this. It's a gal, and she reached through the DM and was just asking if we were in charge of the channel, the Basic Cryptonomics channel. And I told her, this is my level. We need to act like a business. You need to send me an email through cryptotalkradio.net, or you can ping us on Twitter, and that's fine. She sent me an email, asked the same question. So now where we're at, this was yesterday, late yesterday, where we're at is I sent because they want to do a partnership. So what they want to do is have me do what we've talked about as a community, which is to have me help be their conduit to help communicate some of these things, clarify some of these things, explain some of these things, break it down simpler, be their voice because they know they suck at it now, it sounds like. So the way that would work is I basically would be their press room. When they're about to do new things, like I saw on Twitter, they just announced the miner that I talked about, MINER, and didn't explain what it does, didn't explain what it's about, didn't do nothing. This kind of thing, I would help translate it for them to you. I would say, okay, letting me know this is what we're doing, this is when it's coming, this is why we think it's a good idea, and here's the value. Here's what we need to tell people that are investing. I would then be that conduit, and I would release coverage to the community, letting everybody know, and to the broader outside the crypto bubble. This is what this is. Here's what you need to know. And the catch, because it's my show, I will cover it the way I want. So if I see that it's jacked up, I'm going to tell them straight up, okay, you got some problems here in what you're doing. I've already seen the miner because their web code is jacked up. So I already saw the miner. I understand what it's doing. I'm not going to, I'm let them release it first because I don't want to spoil it. But other projects have done something similar. It will tie to Libero Bank in some way. So there is kind of the staking incentive. So what they're trying to do is they're trying to encourage more people to stake tokens. This is smart if you think about it, because right now, when I was in Telescam briefly, I saw people asking the question, man, this Libero just has a bunch of sell pressure. Is it ever going to end? Which was the same question I had. And part of that is less people are staking and more people are just kind of, what they're doing is they're forcing an arbitrage, which I thought was brilliant, right? So you get Libera on the cheap from DigiFinex and then you spin it over, you sell it and take the profits, buy Libero, sell it, take the profits, go over here. And because you're able to arbitrage it this way, you're making a little bit of profit. And some of them are actually just dumping it right back into the liquidity pool stake for Libera. It's brilliant. But obviously, if you're on the Libero side, you're kind of like, well, you're hurting a little bit because you just see red, 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 because there's just sells, right? So what they're trying to do is encourage more people to stake. That's the goal of why the miner became a thing, and the Liberator Bank and all these others. They're trying to encourage more staking. I believe that that's good, but you got to do more too. You got to do more with it. Part of the problem, I think, is just general confusion. I had a bunch of people who agreed. You know, you got Libero, you got F Libero, you got X Libero. You started with W Libero, but that doesn't really exist. It's now Libera, and now you're doing this Liberator that came out of thin air, and all this. That's confusing people when it's actually simple, but they confused it in the interface, which is my other problem, which is that the web doesn't make any sense because there's actually a different web for every tool, which doesn't make any sense. It should be one web that links you to what you need to know and explains it in 2 sentences max, right? So take Libero, the core token Libero. It should start out, okay, first off, here's our site, right? Here's what we're doing. We're doing these projects, Libero, Libera. Don't even talk about X Libero. It doesn't matter. Libero, Libera, and then F Libero, which I think is a different problem. But just say, these are our 3 projects. Then explain what they're doing and what they're for. Libero is the core token of the ecosystem. It does da, 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 da. Libera is our wrapped version of Libero. It's for us to get on exchanges and da, 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 da. Phantom, even I don't know what it's for. Just explain what it's for. Just break it down in simple form. Then present the interface in a way that asks the user to decide by giving pros and cons, right? So Phantom Libero, the number one pro of Phantom Libero, well, there's 2. The main pro of Phantom Libero is that it has a heavily constrained inventory. It's only 1.5 billion, I believe it is, compared to Libero, which has like 10, billion or some odd. It's heavily constrained as Phantom versus main Libero. Second, Phantom's gas is almost nothing to do transactions. Third, Phantom's benefits for staking are significantly higher than Libero. Like, just break that down and say, this is what Phantom Libero gets you. Okay, now what does regular Libero get me that Phantom Libero doesn't? Well, regular Libero, if you're trying to maximize your bag, like you're trying to get as many of the tokens as you want, Libero is going to be your only option because it's not constrained. The second part is that currently Libero is the only place you can use the bond feature on. Okay, so then just talk it through, right? And then Libera is tradable on exchanges. Libera will let you unwrap once the price of Libero goes up, and Libero gets you the liquidity pool stake. And just break that down so that people can make their choice. I think you have very intelligent investors that can make a smart decision. You just got to break down the pros and cons of what you're doing. They can't because they built these as separate websites. And so people are getting confused. Even within the separate websites, the different functions don't make any sense. You go to Libero Bank to see your current stake on Libero, but on Libero, you have to go to account. That doesn't make any sense. Why doesn't Libero Bank take you to your Libero stake and Libero Bank, consistency? And they don't have this. Also, they're planning to do the F Libera Bank at some point with an F Libera token at some point. I still emphatically disagree, but they're going forward with it. Well, now people are saying, well, it feels like a Ponzi because it feels like you're just robbing Peter to pay Paul left and right. They're actually not, because the phantom side does not intersect the regular side. They are completely independent. That's good. But when you look at Phantom Libero, its holders is only like 9,500 versus the 120 some odd thousand on the Libero. So anybody looking at it's like, well, geez, Libero has more holders. It should be way higher than it is. What's wrong with it, right? Phantom Libero doesn't have any holders, but yet it's got green candles. What the heck's going on there? Confusion. And we're not explaining it to where people can consume it and make a smart decision. That's what I believe is harming the price partially. The other part is solving the arbitrage situation, which I'm not sure that they can, except for people that have already built into the liquidity pool staking, they're getting Libero rewards. Some people don't like that. They want Libera rewards. I understand why it's Libero rewards, but I think that's to their detriment, because giving Libero rewards, if you are a whale on the liquidity pool, you're getting so many Libero rewards, you could just dump it and then buy back into the liquidity pool and just keep doing this. And it's like you're just stacking, which is what some people are doing. I don't know how you stop that other than what I recommended, which is, why don't you just issue the reward straight to Libero Bank? And then you force that it's got to go to Libero Bank. We don't care how long you stake it, but it's got to go to Libero Bank. You have to put it there. If you claim it's going to go to Libero Bank and say you defaulted 30 days or something, now you're going to instantly see graphs go up because you're forcing everybody to do staking just by way of claiming rewards. You can claim the Binance reward straight to your wallet. We don't care, because those are less than what the Libero is going to get you, especially on the open market today. Binance USD is static value. Libero is not. So as the price goes, it's almost like a shorting. It's almost like they're shorting Libero. If you can think this through, it's almost like the way that the reward structure pays you at Libero. You get Libero rewards. I don't like that. You get the Libero rewards for doing the liquidity pool stake. You get Libero rewards for doing the regular Libera stake. You get Libero rewards for doing Libero staking. If you max all three of these out, you're getting major bank that people are basically just selling and then adding more to the liquidity pool, because the liquidity pool gives you more rewards. Where I said I would rather see that we simply put those into Libero Bank so that people cannot just immediately dump out of it. I understand why they did it the way they did it. I don't think they thought this through. So I'm saying, in summary, I'm not sure how they solve it. And I think they're reacting. I think they're reacting to, this is just what we're going to do, and it is what it is. And I understand, but I don't agree with it. So that's Libero. They reached out and I sent them the price sheet. And I believe I have the best prices in the business, in my opinion. Now, the way this is going to work is, if I can get them to agree and I can get them to sign up and I can get them to, move forward, my price sheet will be available. It'll be published on cryptotalkradio.net, because it'll be the same price sheet for everybody, so that there's transparency. So, this is what I'm doing. And the way it's built, just so you know, because it ties to my next update, the way it's built is there's 3 tiers. The tier I'm recommending to them is what I said. It's basically, I'm your voice. I'm your press room. You send me information. We talk. You help me understand what your vision is. And then my job is to translate it to people so they can understand it. And then I'll send broadcasts, and basically we're on YouTube, we're on Vimeo, we're on Rumble, we're on Odyssey, we're on TikTok. We're on all these video platforms. We're going to do campaigns across all the video platforms with similar type coverage of just simplifying this down and getting people excited about what the potential is. And then campaigns through LinkedIn, because LinkedIn's where the money is. These are business people, right? That's what nobody else does out in the crypto bubble. They don't think about LinkedIn, but you should, because that's where the money is. That's where the jobs are, not the kids on Telescam. So I'll do a campaign on LinkedIn. I'll do a campaign on Facebook, only because it's free. So there's an outreach on that, but it's press room. I am your conduit. I am communicating for you. I am translating for you to help you out. Then the second tier is consultative. I can come in, I can help you understand, okay, here's the issues I see. Let's fix this, and get back on track. It's designed to help them with some recommendations and suggestions for what I see. First of all, that website's got to be fixed because I think the website's turning people off. So we got to get it corrected, get it all taken care of and cleaned up so that people can get to the information that they need a lot easier. So that would be square number one. We got to fix this freaking website immediately. Everything else I have to think about, but just so you have a sense of the kind of plan that's in my head, if they go forward, it is to try to help them out and kind of move this forward so that we can get the project back on track. I just don't know, in all candor, if it's too late because so much harm has been done to investor sentiment. That said, the Libero community, if it's true that the community has been the one that's been beating these guys up to talk to me, I want to thank you as community for doing so and getting in front of it and also staying true to it and saying, we think there's something here and we want them to get help because we want this thing to succeed. If that's true that the community did that, I thank you because it's been frustrating myself watching what I think is a great project not getting the success that it deserved. And I knew that the community was going to be the key of getting them to, kind of work this forward. So it sounds like we might be on track. We still have to wait for her to come back and hopefully she will respond and say, yep, this is what we want. This is what we're going to do. And we want to move forward. And what do we need to do to move the next steps? If we get there, it's game, set, match. And I'm going to start hitting the ground running with more Libero coverage as part of my regular lives. And it's going to be minimum. They can pay for how many episodes they want, but it's minimum of one. And it'll probably start with this minor one if they want to do that up front. But again, we got to get in front of it quick. We got to do this fast. So that's my Libero update. Again, community, if the community was responsible for getting them on track, thank you for doing the impossible, doing what I was not able to do. I was not able to make this work as much as I tried. I tried so hard, Akon. I couldn't do it. If you guys pulled it off, thank you. And then I want to give a special thanks to my TRIAD members, because I know that at least one of them is part of the community and he's been hammering them too. And my TRIAD members, I thank them because I want to help get the project on track. And everybody that was part of this to make this hopefully happen, thank you. And my commitment to you is, as I've said before, I am not a shiller. I'm not even a real YouTuber. I'm a podcast host. I'm a radio host. So my style is different. My approach is different. I'm not an entertainer per se, although I'm entertaining. I am here to provide information and I'm here to protect people from harm. And if I see a project that needs help, I want to help. If I see somebody else that needs help, I want to help. If I see somebody that wants me to look at something, I'm happy to do it. In this case, I want to partner with them because I think there's something here. I still think there's something here. I still think Libero has strong potential. I know the Bears having some of it, the impact, but I also think the mistakes, we can solve it and we can get back on track. I just don't know, in honesty, if it might be too late because of the sentiment and the harm of the sentiment. And thank you, Jeff Capital. Libero got to get it back on track. Another project, super curious what I think. Feel free to ask about whichever project. I'm pretty much wrapped up with my Libero update and my Luna update, so I am open for any questions. Or if you have another one that you're curious about, chances are I've never heard of it, but ping me anyway. We'll see. Really hope they take my proposal. I really do. There's really no reason not to, frankly. It's silly. Because I guarantee you I guarantee you I'm a fraction of Jake Again. I can tell you that much. I know how much Jake Again charges. He's like $15,000. I'm a fraction of his, dude. So I know how much I know how much they paid to run Times Square, and I'm a fraction of all that. So it's like, you're going to run Times Square and pay that much money, or try to pay someone, and these guys don't pay shillers, I'm just saying in general. But if you're going to pay like Times Square money or that kind of money to somebody, man, it's like, come on. I'm a fraction of this. And the value's already there because one thing I mentioned, or I didn't mention, on the way that my breakout works for my tiers, my pricing tiers, if they choose to do coverage, there's an upfront, and the upfront's whatever it is. But if they want more episodes, they can pay me in this case, Libero and or Libera, and I would tell them to put it in the bank and it would stake for 4 years. So there's no risk of dumping, because I want to also show I'm not trying to take money from you guys. I'm trying to help you. And I want the passive. So I want to keep the tokens. I don't want to sell them. So just to show the community that we're legit, we're not just going after a shiller, put it in the bank. Put it in Libero Bank, put it in my liquidity pool Libera Bank, and let them just do that and let it pay me passives. And that's good enough for me. And then they can pay me as much as they want. If it's if they see good value, they can pay for more episodes. And let's just do it that way. Because again, part of the problem that harmed Paratoken, for those that didn't know, Paratoken went after shillers when I told them not to, or I tried to, and they banned me for their telescam. They went after shillers. The shillers took their money and dumped on it. They took Paratokens and dumped on it. That's why it's such down, because the shillers dumped, and I tried to warn them, but they banned me, so I couldn't warn them it was coming. I don't want to be that guy, because I don't need to take the money from anybody. I want to hold the freaking token. I want it in the bank. I want the passives, man. I want the passives. So it's like, give me the passives, you know. Jeff Capital asked about hold token. I actually had, okay, Jeff, this may or may not disappoint you. I am aware of hold token. I actually had hold token once upon a time, and I'm going to tell a story. And it's a rather funny story because it goes to my issue with devs that get triggered. So hold token, for those that don't know, that's an older token. It's like V4 or some crazy nonsense. They released this dude and they built the mechanics in a way that basically it didn't block you from selling, but it basically blocked you from selling. It was kind of stupid. And then they tried to do a V2 and they screwed it up. And after they screwed it up, they tried to do a V3 and they screwed that up. And now people are kind of pissed because nobody was getting their tokens. I went to Reddit and I was saying, look, people are pissed off. They're not getting their tokens. What the heck's going on? And, you know, I'm a podcast. I need to tell the people because I had done coverage on it. That's in our archives at cryptotalkradio.net if you want to listen to that episode. But basically, they got triggered and said, well, we got it done deep. It was basically it. And I said, look, I understand, but you've harmed investor sentiment. You pissed people off. And I suspect that this is going to hurt the price of this thing, and it's going to tank. So they went forward with it. They did airdrops, and the airdrops was the problem. They did do the airdrops right. They did the airdrops to everybody, but by that time, a bunch of people had dumped out of the project. I never went back to look at it again. So I just kind of wished them well on their merry way and said, whatever, if you guys think you know what you're doing. But that was the story of Hold Token. So yes, I'm aware of it. I had a bag at one time. I completely sold out because they didn't know what they were doing, or they thought they did, and they just kind of went roughshod. And I don't have time for children as it is. Multitasking too, by the way. Sorry, because somebody needs something urgently. Uh-oh, is that right? Oh, yes, that's correct. All right, so that's my story on Hold Token. That's my story on Libero. That's my story on Luna. And again, I want to thank anybody who may or may not have been involved with the reach out from the Libero team. If you had a part and you were beating them up and telling them you needed to reach out, thank you. I sincerely mean that. Thank you, because it was hard, and I know that they're just set in their ways. I had somebody else say that they were muting people and doing other stuff, and I hate to hear that, but it's telescam. It doesn't surprise me. So thank you once again for doing that. The last piece I'll call out is LockPay, this garbage. So there are people that are FOMOing into LockPay, and I wish them all the best in their endeavors. I want to do a public service announcement real quick for people that didn't know, because if they're looking at LockPay and they're looking at that graph, the temptation's there. I'm not going to tell you not to buy in. All I say is just say you're a gambler. You're going to gamble a little money, see what happens. I celebrate your right to do that, and I celebrate if you make it work. But don't YOLO into the thing. It's tempting. I got you. Here's the problem with LockPay, and it's starting to be more of a thing. It's not just me calling it. I just happen to be the first. So multiple people on Twitter are calling out this dude, the car salesman 2.0. So what happened is, if anybody's listening to this, he was the main dev on two projects otherwise. Made of Gold, which I called out in the other one, and then Doge Pay Coin, which I saw that one, but I never paid attention because it looks stupid. So apparently, the Made of Gold, he talked about the story. Made of Gold, he blamed the whales that they just sold off and dumped the thing. I watched the graph. I didn't see whale dumps. I saw a loss of sentiment. Doge Pay coin, apparently, so now this Made of Gold, that was January. I'm pretty sure that launched January. And then February, he's launching this Doge Pay. So he already had multiple coins he was juggling. And, he spins up this Doge Pay. And then like a month later, he says, okay, we're going over to this Lock Pay thing now. And apparently, I don't know this. If the community has any insight and they want to comment, please do. Apparently, he airdropped the Lock Pay tokens to the Doge Pay people. Read, because anybody that listened to my Lock Pay coverage will hear me have said, seemed like there was a lot of people holding a lot of freaking tokens on this thing. And it makes you wonder if the whales in that thing came from the Doge Pay side, because they might have had people that had a crap ton of tokens because it had just launched, right? And they did a pre-sale. So those pre-sellers, if they got Lock Pay drops, equivalent value, that could have been the whales off the jump. Now I'm even more sketchy about Lock Pay because it might be that they just have legacy holdouts. And, people keep swearing, yeah, we can only sell this and only sell that and all that. There was somebody on Twitter, he did an analysis deeper than mine, because I sent Rug Doc, I sent Market Move, trying to tell people, no, this Lock Pay is not safe. I'm telling you, you can verify yourself. Somebody else did analysis and they confirmed, no, this car salesman 2.0, his wallet's unlocked. He can dump whatever he wants. All I'm saying is, if you see the green candle and you get tempted, I'm not going to tell you not to do it. I'm not going to tell you not to FOMO. I'm not going to tell you to avoid it. I'm just saying it's a very risky project. And if you choose to do, it is up to you. I can't say not to. That all rhymes. I'm just saying, from my angle, I see a high risk that he takes the money and runs. Somebody came back and said he's a multimillionaire, deep, which I question why then he looks like Ron Jeremy. Turns out, though, here's the other point I just remembered. Turns out there's a YouTube channel out there called The Crypto Guys. If you know that channel, he's one of them. It's the same guy. He's one of them. So now his channel used to cover Doge Pay coin as one of the tokens. All that's gone. Now he's just covering this. And he used to cover Made of Gold. That's still there. Now he's just covering Lock Pay. So now I'm really skeptical, because I'm like, okay, if you're this, you do this consultative service as your regular business and you're this super successful, whatever, but now you're doing this Crypto Guys channel. And I look at the channel and you don't have a lot of listeners. So you have arguably in some cases less listens than me, which is weird because I've only been in for 5 months. And you're doing this, but then you spin up 3 tokens, 2 of which fail. I'm like, is he really a millionaire, or is he just flossing like he's a millionaire? People can floss like they're a millionaire. I can floss like I'm a millionaire. Seriously, watch this. Oh, look, I can floss like I got money all days. Who cares? Does that really mean that you're good at your job? Does it really mean that you are qualified to do consultative? Does it mean anything? I don't think so. So I don't know. I just say, if you're going to get into Lock Pay because of the green candle, I'm not going to tell you no. I'm not going to tell you to avoid it. I'm just saying I wouldn't recommend it, but it's up to you. But there's a lot of smoke coming out of that chimney, and we don't know what's going to happen. I still think it's going to rug pull. But people swear that it's not, whatever. They're free to do whatever they're going to do. I can't, it's their money, right? Everybody's got their own decision to make, and I'm not going to go any other way. Anyways, twist about it. The last update I'll make, and I'll close. So I called out my TRIAD members, love my TRIAD members, and I'm thankful for my TRIAD members. For somebody on comments who said, you don't know what it's like to be an entrepreneur. I built a CTR brand by myself, and I run 3 podcasts by myself, and the brand is arguably stronger than anything I've seen. So no, I know how to entrepreneur. It's my 5th business, technically 8th if you count separate podcasts. So with the TRIAD membership now, the TRIAD members, I'm crash coursing on Solidity now, and I'm getting close to one of the perks of being a TRIAD Radiance member, which is to get the token that's coming soon. So I'm very excited about that, and I'm going to be looking forward to providing coverage on that token as it grows and evolves and gets to some level, unknown level. I can tell you this much: once I get the token all ready and released and ready to go, Nobody's going to be able to shake anything at it. Nobody's going to be able to question anything about it because it's going to have everything working. We'll be working with the Everrise system. I'm going to be working with Everlock and Everown and the Ever ecosystem to protect it best I can. And I'm going to leverage it to support my TRIAD members as appreciation for them being members. And then at some point in the future, then it'll be released to the general public. That's something you guys didn't know because I never talked about the TRIAD membership until this point, mostly because I needed to finalize what I wanted it to do. Now that I know what I wanted to do, sky's the limit. So that's coming soon. If you're curious about what I'm talking about, check out cryptotalkradio.net, click on TRIAD member in the upper right corner, and under TRIAD Radiance near the bottom, you'll see the specifics of what I'm talking about with this token that's forthcoming sometime in June, and hopefully June. I got to look at the nuts and bolts. Hopefully June, and what that means. I think we're doing excellent stuff. I need to actually go, folks, and I've given every update. Fortunately, I gave the Terra. I was able to crash course it in 30 some odd minutes. That's good. I gave the Terra update, so that was good. I gave the Libero update. That's exciting if we can make it happen, folks. Keep beating them up. Let's see if we can get past the finish line on that one. I hope so. And again, I can't express enough appreciation. If the community was partly to blame for getting them on the track, thank you for getting them to finally come around, come out of the shell at least a little bit, at least talk to me. Now let me try to negotiate and see if we can close this deal and make this thing happen. If I don't have any additional questions, I'll hang out just a little bit in case there are questions in the chat. Otherwise, I'll just go ahead and wrap up for the evening because I want to get something to eat. I'm starving. All right. If anybody comes up with any questions, that's okay. Just leave them in the comments underneath the video when it posts or at cryptotalkradio.net under the comments, contact rather, section at the top. And I will make sure I get you an answer, hook or crook. Let's keep pushing, folks. Let's see if we can get Libero back on track for those that are interested in Libero. As far as Luna, I can't help you there, man. I'm only one man. I'm just a one-man band. Heath Slater, WWE. Thank you. Come again.